Hi everyone. So in this video, this is just a generic Q&A. So I'll be answering questions which have been asked by the community in the past, people in the comment section and in various platforms from Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube. So yeah, the first question is someone is asking me, uh, where am I in the portfolio right now? So in my portfolio, I currently own 13 properties, six which I own, which we bought using the buy, refurb, refinance strategy. Then we rent them out as Airbnb service accommodation. The other seven properties, we don't own them, but we control them. So these properties, we acquire them using a strategy. In the UK, yeah, it's commonly known as rent to rent, where you go to your landlord, you get a property from a landlord, and you control that property. With that property, you rent it out on Airbnb, service accommodation, on a nightly basis, exactly like how hotels do it. So this portfolio with all these properties grouped together, we net about £20,000 a month. And I know Airbnb is got its peaks and troughs. So like in the summer season, it's more because the occupancy rate is high. The properties are mainly fully booked. In the winter, it does drop down a bit, but we've got strategies in place to increase those bookings via direct bookings, via marketing to contractors, people coming into the specific cities to work. So in my portfolio, we operate actually in four different cities. So we've got properties in Glasgow, in Scotland. We've got properties in Birmingham, in Coventry, and Northampton. So the last property deal we did was a buy refurb refinance project. So I bought this property in an auction, and once the auction completed, etc., refurbed the property, renovated it, added value into the property. Then we refinanced the property and we're renting it out as a serviced accommodation. As you can see from the screenshots here, that's the property which we bought, and it's fully functional as a service accommodation at the minute. Someone on TikTok is asking how do they get to 13 buildings. I mean, it wasn't overnight. The journey started back in before COVID. So before COVID, I got myself educated, so that was the first thing which I did to acquire information. And it wasn't just about acquiring information from social media or YouTube, etc. It was like acquiring structured information from someone I know who's moved from point A to point B. So I looked for a mentor who I related to. So there was a guy who was also an engineer. So he taught me like the whole service accommodation strategy. Then in terms of buying properties as well, I look for mentor. So for me, everything was through paid education, acquiring information through paid education. So there was a company, a local company in Glasgow, which teaches about these methods as well. I went up to them, paid my money. I was in the class and I learned all the ropes. So there is various ways to actually start with your first deal, and most people are stuck in their mindset to say, oh, I need a lot of money to actually do this. Yes, for me, I was fortunate enough. I had a little bit of deposit saved up, but I didn't have renovation money. I didn't have like a refinance, all these things. There was some funds which were missing, but with the knowledge which I had acquired, I learned how to raise money from ordinary people. Like other people call these people investors, but I shy away from that word because when you say investor to someone, they'll be thinking, oh, some like sophisticated what's this professional. No, an investor is an ordinary person. It could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be like an acquaintance, a work colleague, anyone who's got money sitting in the bank doing nothing. So once I started with the first property, I bought it and I looked for that preferred professional, let me call it. And that preferred professional, I showcased the project which I had, and they borrowed me money. So it wasn't a fixed return. So from them borrowing me money, they got a profit from the money which they lent me. So I mean, after that, it was a snowball effect. I just realized this model works, and I just replicated it six times. Then also on the rent to rent side, it was like the blueprint is there. Someone has done it. Okay, if someone has done it, I can do it the same. found out how they exactly did it through paid mentorship, through paid courses, etc. Then after that, I replicated the same thing. So, and I've done the same thing 7 times. Yes, my journey is still coming a long way. I'm still in the journey of scaling up as well, learning more about it as well. So yeah, that's the target. But it doesn't happen overnight. So, but like, just I want people to come off the mindset of saying, yes, I need large sums of money. It's a scam. It's a myth. You're lucky. No, no one is lucky. I mean, there are people in this position who've replicated these 200 properties. I mean, can you get lucky 100 times? I don't think so. So there's a comment saying I have to be able to afford to buy 6 properties in the first place. A lot of people can't even afford to buy one. Yes, a lot of people can't afford to buy one property, but as I said in in the previous question, everything starts within your mind. So every in property is a mindset game. Business is a mindset game. So if you're willing to unlearn everything which you believe in your mind and learn new ways of thinking, because you don't know what you don't know, you know. So as I said, for me, it was the game changer was acquiring information. So the information which I acquired changed everything for me. It changed my life. There's another question on TikTok asking if I take loans, if how I fix the properties. So yes, I mean, for you to scale your business to a certain level, you will leverage loans. So the loans can be either from financial institutes. So these are like banks, mortgage companies, old bridging companies. You know, you can get those loans. Fixed loans, they'll put a charge on your property, and they literally own part of the property because you don't own 100% of the property. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the property is in your name or in your business name. And if you pay the loan off, the property is still yours. However, you can also get loan from private investors or preferred professionals, as I've previously called them. So that loan is still works at the same way as the bank. The interest rates might be a bit cheaper compared to the banks, or the interest rates might be high, but that's always up to you to negotiate. So there's nothing wrong with having loans, with having debt, because there is good debt and bad debt. I mean, if I was getting loans to go buy useless things, I mean, which are not even paying me anything, you know, getting loans to buy liabilities, I call it, that will be useless. But if you get loans to buy assets, the assets which pay you income, I mean, ain't that a good debt? That's a good debt. So for you to scale this business to this kind of level, you will always leverage loans. You will always leverage debt, you know, but it has to be good debt. Yes, the follow on to that question was how do I fix the properties? Which, I mean, they're asking how do I renovate the properties, refurb the properties. So all the properties which we go for require a level of adding value to it. So you can add value by completely renovating the property. You can add value by um, maybe adding an extra room into the property, or rejigging the floor plan, the layout of the property. You know, you can add value by extending the property, going into the loft. So in the UK, most of the properties have got a loft. So going into the loft, creating an extra room into the loft. You can add value by converting a 1 bedroom flat into a 2 bed, by maybe destroying one of the bedrooms and making it destroying the lounge and making it an open lounge, you know, destroying the kitchen, adding an extra room there. So there's so many ways you can add value to the properties, you know. But if you buying a property, you must always think of ways to add value into the property. Re-renting Airbnbs is legal as long as you've got the correct permissions. So the two people you need permissions from are the landlord, and obviously the landlord needs to have the right documentation, the right mortgages in place. If they've got a mortgage on the property, if they own the property outright, they don't need a mortgage. You are renting from the landlord, you need the correct contracts in place, you know. So I see a lot of comments oh, subletting is illegal. Oh man, come on. If subletting was illegal, like all these people doing Airbnb arbitrage, I'm sure they should be in prison now. So I mean, like I said as well, it's about you having an open mindset, like opening up your mind and having that like forward thinking to think outside the box. So for someone looking to start their Airbnb journey, yes, I don't want to plug myself in, but you can book a call with me, and now it's a free consultation call, which I'll help you map out your goals. So for me, the best way to start this journey is look for someone who's done this strategy before, and that's someone who will guide you to actually get your first property. I mean, the roadmap is very clear. If someone has walked the path before, you just want to follow their footsteps, But if you don't want to do that route, you can look for like acquire information through YouTube, through reading, etc. So the reason why information is so important, and I keep repeating it, is because you don't want to make the mistakes which you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So if you're just going in blind, I mean, using another analogy, for you to learn how to drive a car, don't you go to a driving instructor? Yes, you do go to a driving instructor, someone who's going to teach you how to drive a car. But if you want to run an Airbnb business, what makes you think you can just get into the car and drive without like knowing the whole business model? So you need to learn the business model. And there's a lot after learning the business model. Obviously, there's a lot of factors to actually for you to decide whether you want to do this in your location. So you need to think about location. You need to think about guest profiles. You need to think about the types of houses you want to do. So there's a lot. You want to do upmarket, the luxury accommodations, or you want to do the normal houses, service accommodation. So there's a lot to think about. But obviously, for you to think about those things, like you just need someone to hold you, someone to guide you throughout the whole process. So I know there's a lot of talks in the town to say, "Oh, quit your job, jump straight into property." I'll say for those people who've got a steady job, a steady income, no, don't do like the full force of quitting your job before you actually start, and before you maybe even actually start buying one, etc. Because property has got its own challenges as well, and it can be slow, so you don't want to like jump straight into the deep end. But if you one of those people who actually like pressure, who actually work better under pressure, yes, I mean every decision is up to you. The route which I always recommend is get to a certain level of your goals, then you can quit your job. So if you target to say, look, my job, I'm earning, this is an example, I'm earning £3,000 a month. How many properties do I need to replace that £3,000 a month? So I wouldn't say quit today, then start looking for £3,000 a month via property. No, I'll say make the £3,000 a month, then like you can quit your job. If you've got like 2 or 3 rent-to-rent deals, you can actually quit your job steadily, because that will be like 4,000 or £5,000 a month profit with the 3 rent-to-rent deals. My portfolio currently holds 13 properties, and I'm looking to take it to 20 properties. So this is by the end of Q1 2025. So 10 which should be owned by us, and other 10 will be rent-to-rent properties. So for me, the service accommodation business, I'm not trying to like grow it aggressively to 100 properties. I think we had a number which we want to be manageable, but because we've already got other business ventures which we're interested in. So it's a steady growth, something which we're happy about, steady income, because we want to optimize it. So like with those 20 properties, we don't want like 20 properties which are hitting 50% occupancy. We want 20 properties which are hitting 100% occupancy, and those will be juicy profits. What would that look like? So yeah, so the one-to-one mentorship which I offer is bespoke to each individual. So it's targeted to those individuals, either they want to start by buying the properties, or they want to start by rent to rent. As I mentioned to you, I've done both acquisitions, but the Airbnb operations is the same, whether you own the property or the property is leased, it's someone else's property. So the first, like the mentorship is 15 hours. So I mean it's 15 hours as in 1 hour a weekly call. So each weekly call is different. So we'll start by deal analysis. We'll start by writing your listing down your goals, finding out your vision, etc. Then I will go on to like teaching you further in detail about deal analysis, finding properties. Then we go into operations. Once you've got the property, we're going to systemization. We're going to into finishing the property. We're going to securing your power team, hiring. There's a lot which you're going to. So from the top of my head, like I can go on and on, but like the modules are detailed, and you will be like training everything from my brain into yours. So it's like a telepath transfer. What's this transformation? So it's like taking things from Tabo's brain and putting it into your brain. I leave no stone unturned. I share everything which I know. I share everything which has made me get to this level, to owning 6 properties on my name, and 7 other properties rented from landlords, turning over about 20K a month. Yeah, for someone getting into property and they don't have any money, rent to rent is the best way to get started, because rent to rent is low capital to start off with. So you don't need large sums of money compared to buying the property. With rent to rent, the acquisition cost, the startup cost which you need are your furniture, probably deposit to the landlord, and yeah, that's about it. So you don't need huge sums of money that, like, compared to buying the property. So uh, for me, it's a no-brainer. Rent to rent is a low-hanging fruit if you want to get started and learning the ropes about the Airbnb business. So renovations are always like the scary part for a lot of people. So if you're renovating a property which you own, you want to go into as much detail as possible in adding value to the property. So this is like the buy, refurb, refinance strategy. So that's like a property you would own in your name or in your business name. But if you're renovating a landlord's property, you want to, it's more like cosmetic dressing. So you dressing that property up to a standard which will help you attract more guests into the property. So it's not as detailed as renovating the property which you own. The property which you own, you need to go full all in, like all in, renovate it to the best standard, because that's your property, that's your asset. But if it's someone else's property, yes, do it up nicely, but it's cosmetic dressing. So it's like painting, it's things like that, things which are top level, but it's not like things like changing the kitchens, changing the bathroom. No, I wouldn't suggest that unless it's your property which you own. So that's why rent to rent, you don't have to go into full detail refabs. So in that service accommodation Airbnb business, yes, it's a seasonal business, and someone will be lying if they tell you it's not, because in the summer all the operators are smiling. But if you've got the right marketing strategies, the right systems in place, you can make money throughout the 12 months. So the best ways, and the way we capitalize on the quieter months, which is like the winter seasons, is we go to contractors. So contractors are people who come to that particular area to do work. So those people don't care about the seasons, regardless of whether it's winter, it's raining outside. They will be in a place renovating the inside, or they will be somewhere doing works. So these contractors could be either builders, electricians, engineers, drivers, anyone just who's coming into that particular city to do works. There's so many ways to get these people. So these are the people which we normally target during the quieter seasons. But in the summer, we heavily rely on the OTAs. So in the summer, we ramp up our prices, because there is a lot of holiday people coming in, holiday makers coming into that particular city for tourism. So for example, in Glasgow, in the summertime is so busy because there's a lot of tourists coming from abroad, all over the world, will come to Glasgow, to Scotland, and go up north, go further up north. So Glasgow is like more like the central hub which they come into. So they'll see Glasgow first and they go up north. So our properties are fully booked in the summer. We don't complain. We always smile throughout the summer. But even throughout the winter, we smile because we've got ways to attract guests throughout the winter. So I mean, people want us people want to start into property, but they're always looking at the news, they're always looking at the economy, saying what the government is saying, the riots and everything. I mean, I call those people skeptics. They'll always be on the fence. They'll never pull the trigger to take action, because they're always making excuses in your head. I think one of the questions which I've been asked in these channels is like the mindset. Everything starts in your mind. So no matter what, if you want something, you do whatever it takes to get that thing which you want. So despite what's happening in the news, if someone else is doing the business strategy which you want to do and they're making a profit, I mean, despite whatever is happening in the economy, you should replicate what they're doing. The blueprint is in your eyes. I mean, there's a famous quote from Tony Robbins which says, "Success leaves clues." So I'm not a big operator. I've got 18 properties, but there are operators with 100 properties. So when they panic or when whatever they're doing in this hard economy, we're replicating that. I'm replicating that as well, like to navigate my business. If there's a tax law which is affecting them, I know it's going to affect me. I'm just copying exactly how they're navigating it. In the Scotland, there were licenses which came in place, and the big operators in Scotland with 100, 200 properties, we just mirrored what they were doing and we copied the exact strategies, how they were mitigating everything. So if you are starting off in business and you are very skeptical to say, oh, the government is going to change these rules, the government is going to like, okay, you can carry on watching all my videos and see if I'm going to go out of business. It will be 2 3 years, you're still watching the business and all these news is coming to you, but you're not taking action. So I suggest right now, my friend, pull the trigger, take action, and start now. So there's a question which is coming here about bridging loans. So, okay, for example, what are bridging loans? So, a bridging loans are short-term loans, which you get to if you bought a property and you want to exit in a short period of time. So a lot of people get bridging loans when they buy properties from, number one, from auctions, and number two, when they buy properties which they know they want to develop, and after developing that loan, they want to exit into a specific mortgage product. Yep. So the last deal which we bought was from an auction. So I bought this deal 105K from the auction, but I couldn't use a mortgage because it was an auction property. And in auction properties, I was only allowed 28 days to complete. So the quickest thing I could get was a bridging loan. So I got a bridging loan to cover 75% of that 105K. Yeah. So the other delta, which was about 30K, was coming from me. So I paid 25% of that, and the bridging loan was 75%. Yeah. So that means the house was 100% paid, and it was now what in my name. Then with the bridging loan, I pay the bridging loan monthly payments, yeah, which is about 1% or something a month. So the interest rates for a bridging loan are quite high. They are higher than interest rates of a mortgage. So if you're paying 1% a month for 12 months, that's going to be 12% on your bridging loan. But with the mortgage, the interest rates are usually half of that, which is like 5%. But mortgages, as I said, mortgages are longer. So mortgages can be vary from 25 to 30 years, 40 years plus. So that's the mortgage. But a bridging loan is usually set for 9 to 12 months. Yeah. So after you renovate the property, you've added value into the property, you do something which is called a refinance. So you exit the bridging loan. So you look for a specific mortgage product based on your exit strategy so you can exit the bridging loan. So for this property, we look for a serviced accommodation mortgage, a mortgage which allows a commercial mortgage which allows me to do Airbnb in that particular property. So from doing that, I exited the bridging loan and got on to a lower a lower interest mortgage. So yeah, that's the generic gist of a bridging loan. There's more details into it, like which there's because there's various types of bridging loans as well. There are some types of bridging loans where you pay the interest upfront, so they'll take the interest on day one. So throughout the 12 months, you don't pay anything. There's bridging loans where you pay monthly. So, but if you ever think of getting a bridging loan, the best person to help you out is your broker. your mortgage broker that will help you out with the bridge loan. So yeah, I just explained how I've used a bridge loan in my property deals. There's a question here which says, how do you find landlords which allow you to rent out your properties on Airbnb, service accommodation? I mean, there's two types of landlords, right? There's two types of landlords. One, a landlord who actually knows about Airbnb and they like it, yeah, and the landlord who doesn't know anything about Airbnb and they hate it. Yeah. So if you're lucky in a position where you find a landlord and they know about the Airbnb strategy, you explain to them like how best you're gonna keep your property. The property is gonna be well maintained. It's gonna be clean every time someone checks out. You don't allow parties. You know, you show them examples of like your previous properties. I said if you don't have properties, you can go on Airbnb and show them to say, look, my property, your property is going to be looking better than this one. You know, this is an example of our target properties in our competitors. So your property is going to be looking better than this one, high maintained. You can come inspect it whenever you want, just to give them that confidence. Yeah. So that's like you now educating the landlord about that. I mean, skeptics there already in the comment sections can argue and say, oh, if you're going to educate the landlord about this, why then doesn't the landlord do it themselves? I mean, there's a lot of people think landlords are missing out on the money. Other landlords don't even care about money. Other landlords, they don't want to do this strategy. They just want a passive income, money coming in a month. They don't want to deal with guests. They don't want to deal with everything. So other landlords are happy for you to make your money, your extra money, but they don't want to be involved. Yeah. So this is the landlord where they know about this strategy. Yeah. So I've explained that. The next types of landlord is a landlord who doesn't know about Airbnb, a landlord who's heard about Airbnb and they don't like it, you know. So that's for you, is for you to convince them that you are the best person to take on their property. Your business is going to take on their property, and your business does the service accommodation model. So there are many angles for you to pitch to this landlord. So you could pitch to this landlord by telling them you've got, obviously you've got a business, you registered and everything, and it will be like corporate clients coming in to stay in your property. However, sometimes you will be advertising on Airbnb, Booking.com, OTAs as we call them, to attract more to attract more people into the property. But obviously, those people you attract, you verify them, they pay a deposit. You know, you've got ways to mitigate parties. You know, so you now also what, educating this landlord, but you don't want to go into more detail, which are gonna scare them off. But you just want to give them a lot of confidence that there will be no bad things happening in their property. Because the only thing landlords are scared is they think of the worst case scenario. They think there's going to be fire. They think there's going to be prostitution in their properties. So every bad thing which is in their head, you just want to remove that, and you give them confidence. You know, you give them confidence how you're going to do it. If you're saying there's not going to be parties, you need to tell them how you're going to avoid parties. Look, landlord, uh each time like someone comes into the property, we've got their ID, we verified them, they've paid a deposit, we've got sound monitors in the property, we've got a ring door camera by the door which tells me how many people have gone in. So if there's a sound monitor above a certain decibel, I know there's someone is playing loud music, probably there's a party. If the ring door is showing me 50 people have gone in the property, that's a party. Six, I will send, we've got security company which goes and removes these people. So these people are not tenants, they are guests. You know, we can evict them, like remove them there and there. So it's not like I need to send them an eviction notice or anything like that. So yes, there's so many ways to speak to the landlord, but everything in this property business, remember, it's people's game. It's always relationship. It's people to people. You're speaking to a landlord, you're speaking to another human being who's also got their asset at their best interest. So they're trying to protect their asset, and you just want to show them ways like you also got their asset at best interest. You want to protect their asset as well. You don't want any bad things to happen to their asset, because the landlord has spent money to buy this property, to invest in this property. So you just they're also scared, like, oh well, if I give this guy who does Airbnb, what if there's a party? What if this? So you just want to present your case, you have a strong case. I know others, coaches out there, other gurus, furus, they talk about having a script, having a script and all that, like cramming. To me, you don't need a script. You just need to talk business to business. Tell them the benefits, why you want to take on their property. It's all about their benefits and remove their doubt. So it's a people to people business. That's the best way to approach a landlord. Forget about the scripts that everyone else talks about, but just go and speak to someone, even if it's a lettings agent. So the lettings agents, most lettings agents have caught up with this strategy. They know about this Airbnb arbitrage, rent to rent. So they'll understand, like, oh yeah, we've got some of our properties with these guys who do Airbnb. So if the guys are doing a good job, so it's an easy sell for you. They know like how Airbnb people take care of the properties, and that will be a very easy through pass for you. So there's a question here which is saying, where do I get my startup money? So I mean, I finished university was 2015. So like from 2015, I got my first property in 2018. So that was 3 years. So I did save up money in 3 years time. That was just saving up. I was just living below my means and budgeting and all that kind of stuff. So the first money was saving up, but like you can't save yourself to 6 properties. As I mentioned to you before, I took the plunge and I invested in my education. I invested in my wealth creation knowledge, my property knowledge, all these strategies. I invested in them. I paid people to teach me this as fast as possible. So that's what got me here. Someone in the comment section is saying, in order for you to get into properties, start Airbnbs, you need to be born rich. I mean, that's a very, I don't know who that person is or their background, but I mean, personally, I'm from humble beginnings, like no silver spoon, no mommy and daddy's money. So it was all like through my hard work. I did normal jobs. I did ordinary jobs, which everyone does. So I don't think like that example reflects me. Yes, maybe there are people who that person knows who are born rich, but as I said before, like everything is in your mind. You just have to unlearn your beliefs, unlearn everything which you believe is true, and you learn new beliefs. Learn new beliefs, change your mindset, get around people who are doing the things which you want to do, and you will start seeing life in a different angle. But if you always think, oh no, this is for rich folks, this is for people who need to be born rich, that will be you. You'll be stuck in that position. But if you've got like that 1 inch of a belief that you can do this yourself as well, you can change that. I mean, trust me, the world is your oyster. You can change your mindset, you can change your beliefs, and it will change everything in your bank account. So I mean, there people are thinking property is a broad business. There's HMOs, there's flipping, there's BRR, there's supported living, rent to Airbnb, rent to HMOs. So there's a lot to do in property. There's commercial development, a lot of things which like sourcing, you can sell deals. So for me, I don't like this comparison of saying, oh, which one is the best strategy. I see a lot of gurus and furus talking about flipping is the best, better than HMOs. HMOs are better than service accommodation or rent to rent. No, I think for every strategy is best suited for every individual. So everything is a personal choice. You can make money from each strategy. So it just depends on where you are in your journey and where you want to go in your journey. If you like the whole thing about flipping properties, you don't like dealing with tenants, you want like large sums of money after 3 6 months every time like that, then flipping is your best strategy. If you want like guaranteed income, renting out properties room by room, and you want to do those deep big developments, etc., HMOs could be your best strategy. If you prefer the holiday market, like renting out properties to holiday people and luxury market, etc., maybe Airbnbs could be your best strategy. If you don't want any of this, but you want to sell deals, you want to find properties and find investor, marry those deals to an investor, sell them on sourcing, then sourcing could be a best strategy. So for me, I do two strategies. I do buy, refurb, refinance, and rent them out as Airbnbs as the operational strategy. I also do rent to rent. So for my journey, that's best suited for me. So if you are in the fence and you want to learn more about Airbnbs, I'm your guy. But if you want to learn more about other strategies, there are so many coaches, so many mentors teaching the other strategies. But I'm not gonna say on this comment section, on this video, to say, oh yeah, do Airbnb because it's the best strategy. But Airbnb, obviously, everything's got advantages and disadvantages. Rent to rent Airbnb is a low hanging fruit in terms of the startup capital compared to other strategies in the market. So for you to flip a property, you need large sums of money. For you to do HMO, you need large sums of money. For you to do BRR, you need large sums of money. But rent to rent is the only strategy which you need less. You don't need a lot of capital. You don't need a lot of money to start off with. And a lot of people who want to start in property, they don't have the large sums of money. Hence, rent to rent is the best strategy to start off with. Yes. So guys, there's a question here in the comment section. How do I deal with when the properties are empty? When there's no bookings, etc. So when there's no bookings, it's mainly maybe in quiet periods or in winter months, etc. You don't just sit down and look at your calendar, put your feet up and drink coffee. Now that's when you do most of the work. So there's a lot of ways to do it, and I'll go technical into this question. So you can optimize your listings, so you can change the description of your listings, change the pictures around, just do something to optimize your listing. So in the what's this in literal what's this computer world, they call it SEO. So you want to do search engine optimization on your listing. Yeah. Number two, you can reach out to the previous people who bought your property and ask them when they're coming to visit the city again. And if they want to visit, you can incentivize them by giving them discounts and all these things. So you just want to try entice people. This is like remarketing to people who stayed with you. They know your property, they like your property, so you're just remarketing to them. Number three, you can market to new people. So you can you can go to look for contractors working in the area, asking them where they're staying, and if they want to book your place. So it's like direct marketing, looking for people who are actually in this area. So you can look for vans, like we call it a van run. So where you go into like hotels, local hotels in your area, like Premier Inn, Travel Lodge, and you look for vans. You take the picture of the vans and you call the secretaries to say, look, I saw the van in Glasgow, and I know you're looking for accommodation because the lads or the people are staying at Premier Inn. Do you want like a better accommodation, which is the service house, the service department? So you just have to do the work to get your properties full. You don't have to just sit down and put your legs up and drink coffee. No, you get to work. So service accommodation is an operational strategy. So you just have to do some work. It's not money just going to be coming in all the time. So there are some times where you need to optimize your properties to the best standards, because at the end of the day, there is a competition as well. So there is supply and demand. If the supply of properties is high, the bookings will be less. So you just need to stand out from the market. You need to add things like unique selling features into your property. What's making your property stand out? What's making your property great, like from the other properties in your particular area? What makes you like the greatest host in that particular area? What makes you like the better host than everyone else who's operating in that area? So you just need to find those ways. But yes, I teach all those ways into my one-to-one uh, uh, consultation mentorship program. I can help you with finding those things. Though, like my students don't go quiet in the winter because we've got strategies, we've got ways to keep us booked throughout the year. If you like this video, click on the link below and book a free discovery call with me.